Have you ever looked at someone else's life and felt that quiet frustration inside you? Like, why do they have more? Why is their path easier? Why am I still here? You try to stay grateful, you really do. But deep down, comparison creeps in. It whispers that you're behind, that you've been treated unfairly, that maybe God gave you less. And here's the uncomfortable truth. The more you compare, the more dissatisfied you become. Even if your life is good, even if you've been blessed. Think about it. Two people can receive something valuable, yet one feels grateful and the other feels cheated. Why? Most people don't realize this, but comparison doesn't just steal your peace. It blinds you to what you already have. And here's where it gets dangerous. Because the moment you believe your story is less than, you stop living it fully. So the real question is not, why do they have more? The real question is, what am I doing with what I've been given? Parable, the workers in the vineyard. For the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire workers for his vineyard. He agreed with them on a denarius for the day and sent them into his vineyard. About the third hour, he went out again and saw others standing idle in the marketplace. He said to them, "You also go into the vineyard, and whatever is right, I will give you." So they went. Again he went out about the 6th hour and the 9th hour, and did the same. And about the 11th hour, he went out and found still others standing there. He asked them, "Why have you been standing here all day doing nothing?" "Because no one has hired us," they answered. He said to them, "You also go into my vineyard." When evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, "Call the workers and pay them their wages, beginning with the last ones hired and going on to the first." The workers who were hired about the 11th hour came, and each received a denarius. So when those came who were hired first, they expected to receive more. But each one of them also received a denarius. When they received it, they began to grumble against the landowner. "These who were hired last worked only 1 hour," they said, "and you have made them equal to us, who have borne the burden of the work and the heat of the day." But he answered one of them, "Friend, I am not being unfair to you. Didn't you agree to work for a denarius? Take your pay and go. I want to give the one who was hired last the same as I gave you. Don't I have the right to do what I want with my own money? Or are you envious because I am generous? So the last will be first, and the first will be last." Jesus shows that God's grace is not based on human comparison, but on his own generosity and purpose. 1. In the parable, Jesus describes a landowner who hires workers at different times but gives them all the same reward. Jesus teaches this to challenge the mindset of those who believed they deserved more because of their effort or time. He was speaking especially to those who trusted in their own righteousness. In life today, people constantly measure their worth by comparison. We look at others and think, "I've done more, I deserve more." This mindset creates frustration and pride. Instead of living fully, people become trapped in silent competition, never satisfied with what they have. 2. Jesus shows that the workers who were hired first agreed to their wage from the beginning. The landowner did not cheat them. He gave exactly what was promised. Jesus highlights that the issue was not injustice, but perception. In real life, many people are not unhappy because they lack something, but because they compare. You can receive exactly what you once prayed for, yet still feel disappointed when someone else seems to receive more. Comparison distorts reality and makes blessings feel insufficient. 3. In the parable, the landowner continues to go out and call more workers, even at the last hour. Jesus reveals God's heart. He continues to invite people, no matter how late it seems. His grace is not limited by time or human expectations. Today, people often believe they are too late in life. Too late to change, too late to start, too late to be used by God. But this parable confronts that belief. Many live in regret and hesitation, not realizing that opportunity is still available. The real danger is not being late. It is refusing to respond when the invitation comes. 4. In the parable, Jesus highlights that those who came last received the same reward as those who worked all day. This was intentional. Jesus teaches that entry into God's kingdom is not earned by time or effort, but given by grace. He confronts the belief that longer service equals greater worth before God. In life, people often tie their value to how long or how hard they've worked compared to others. Someone who arrives late and succeeds can trigger frustration. But this reveals a deeper issue. People don't just want fairness, they want superiority. And this mindset quietly poisons relationships, replacing joy with resentment. 5. Jesus shows the reaction of the first workers. They began to complain, not because they were treated unfairly, but because others were treated generously. Jesus exposes how the human heart can resist grace when it is given to someone else. Today, this appears when people struggle to celebrate others. Instead of being happy, they feel threatened. Someone else's blessing feels like a personal loss. This creates inattention, insecurity, and bitterness. Most people don't realize it, but the inability to rejoice with others is a sign of a heart trapped in comparison. 6. In the parable, the landowner responds, "Friend, I am not being unfair to you." Jesus makes it clear that God is just, even when his actions don't align with human expectations. The problem is not God's fairness, it is human misunderstanding. In real life, people often question God when life doesn't match their sense of justice. Why them? Why not me? But this reveals a limited perspective. People see only moments, while God sees the whole picture. What feels unfair is often simply something we don't yet understand. 7. Jesus ends with a powerful statement. Are you envious because I am generous? Here, he directly addresses the core issue, envy. The parable is not just about reward, but about the condition of the heart. Jesus warns that envy can blind a person to God's goodness. In everyday life, envy rarely looks obvious. It hides behind comparison, quiet frustration, or subtle dissatisfaction. A person may appear fine outwardly, but inside they are constantly measuring, constantly lacking peace. And here's the danger. Envy doesn't just steal joy, it slowly distances a person from gratitude and from God himself. 8. In the parable, Jesus intentionally shows that the last workers did not earn their reward in the same way as the first. This reveals a key truth. God's grace can't be calculated or deserved in human terms. Jesus teaches that salvation and blessing are gifts, not wages. In life, people often try to calculate what they deserve. They measure effort, time, sacrifice, and expect a proportional result. But when life doesn't follow that formula, frustration grows. The deeper issue is this. Many people don't truly understand grace. They want control, not gift. And when control disappears, so does their peace. 9. Jesus presents the landowner as someone who goes out again and again to invite workers. This shows God's persistent initiative. He seeks people, not just once, but repeatedly. Jesus reveals a God who does not give up calling. In real life, people often ignore opportunities, thinking another one will come later. And sometimes it does, but over time, the heart becomes less responsive. What once felt like an invitation starts to feel distant. Many people don't reject God in one moment. They slowly drift away by continually postponing their response. 10. In the parable, those hired at the 11th hour were still idle, waiting. Jesus shows that their condition was not rebellion, but lack of opportunity. Yet when the call came, they responded immediately. Today, many people feel stuck, not because they are unwilling, but because they are waiting for the right moment, the right conditions, the right confidence. But here's the insight. The moment opportunity appears, response matters more than readiness. Those who move, even late, often experience transformation. Those who wait endlessly remain in the same place. 11. Jesus concludes with a reversal. The last will be first, and the first will be last. This is not just about order, it is about perspective. Jesus overturns human expectations of status, reward, and importance. In life, people build identity around being ahead, more successful, more recognized, more deserving. But this mindset is fragile. The moment someone else rises, identity shakes. Jesus exposes this instability. True security is not found in being first, but in being aligned with God. And most people don't realize this until comparison leaves them empty. So what was the real problem in the story? It wasn't the reward, it wasn't the work, it wasn't even fairness, it was the heart. Jesus shows that you can receive exactly what was promised and still feel empty, simply because you are looking at someone else's life instead of your own. Think about it. The workers who came first didn't lose anything, but in their minds, they lost everything because they compared. And this is where most people fall, not because God hasn't given them enough, but because they stopped seeing it. And here's the truth most people don't understand. Gratitude grows your life. Comparison slowly destroys it. So maybe the question is not, why do others have more? Maybe the real question is, can I be at peace with what God has given me? Because the moment you stop comparing, you finally start living.